ask everyone to please rise for the invocation by Pastor Stephen St. John, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance afterwards.
I'm just going to ask you to bow your heads, please, while we pray. We come before you today to give you honor and praise. You are worthy of praise. You are the source of all that is good. You are the source of all of our blessings. Thank you for every gift that we have been given. We thank you for the opportunity to come together this day. We ask for your hand of blessing in this meeting. We ask that you would guide and direct our meeting so that it's full of wisdom, productivity, and respect for one another. Thank you for helping to accomplish our work and our goals for this day. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. If everyone will please face the same direction as me, the flag in the corner. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please have a seat. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Those of us here today and those of us viewing us outside. I believe it is at this time. Want to do a quick test? Mr. Sanson, how are you on audio? We're good. Okay. Welcome to Veterans in Politics International Candidate Forum today. I want to, first of all, to begin with, I want to thank our door host, Claudia Thomas, so much for being here with us today. I'm your moderator. My name is Jordan Ross. I'm the constable of the Township of Laughlin, Nevada, and chairman of the Southern Nevada Rural Constables Alliance. Before we go any further, I want to briefly but sincerely thank our sponsors. First and foremost, Scott Gormley, owner of Rhythm Kitchen Restaurant, where we're conducting these interviews today. Ron Q Foundations, Paul Pata, principal of Paul Pata Law Office, Michael Broadway, the Robert Stoffel Law Group, Brent Jones, owner of Real Water, George Carson, owner of AllTalkRadio.net, Kevin Wall from Battleborn Radio, and so many more who give their time and resources to support veterans in politics. I want to briefly introduce our panel today. Today we have Karen Steelman, Auxiliary Director with Veterans in Politics International. We have Tim Patara, a veteran of U.S. Army and a volunteer with Veterans of America. Rowena Krifaten, founder of the Shine Family Foundation. Janet Ragland, veteran of the United States Air Force, a co-host of Veterans in Politics Radio. Robert Lueck, former Clark County District Court Judge. Robert Faust, veteran of the United States Army. Jamison Ahern, veteran of the United States Marine Corps. Scott Lafano, State Director for Nevada for Citizens for a Better America, Super PAC. Monty Levy, attorney here in Nevada. And Fred Conquest, Executive Director of the Citizens for a Better America Super PAC. I'm going to very briefly go over rules and the basic fundamentals of how this works. Time is crucial. We do have a schedule to keep to today. So please adhere strictly to these guidelines. We want to be able to allow enough room for people to be able to speak, but we have to keep to these times. This is an interview, not a debate. Redirects are not allowed. 30-second questions from the panel, 1-minute answers. Each panelist will be allowed one question per interview. The question will be directed at one candidate unless the question can be answered with a yes or no. Panelists will have 30 seconds to pose their question. Interviewees will be given 1 minute to respond. If time permits, questions will be taken from the audience. I want to point out that Veterans in Politics International has been a leader in innovative candidate forums that have gone beyond the tired format established decades ago by the League of Women Voters, which I strongly feel does a disservice to the American public. This is how candidates should be interviewed in public forums. A representative democracy cannot survive in the long run without an informed electorate. So I charge you, the panel, look for real answers. Remember, things like, I just want to do the best job I can. I'm glad you asked that question. These are not answers. These are evasions. Look for the real answers. Go and get them. Thank you very much. Our first panel to interviewees today, I would like to introduce candidates for the State Assembly District 36, Mr. Rusty Stanberry and Ms. Tina Trenner. Thank you very much. And who would like to be the first panelist to begin?
I think we need to have them introduce themselves.
Oh, I apologize. Let's let each of the candidates, please. Mr. Stanberry, you first, please.
I'm Trustee Stanberry. Lived in Las Vegas for 25 years. I served in the Navy right after high school. Work in IT, business analysis with VIPI.
Ms. Trenner.
My name is Tina Trenner. I have lived in Southern Nevada for 27 years. I have lived out in the Pahrump area in my county for the last 14. I'm a broadcaster by profession. I've had both national radio and television shows, and I've become very, very concerned about what's going on in our country and have decided to step up as a citizen's representative of the people.
Thank you very much. Ms. Levy, would you like to begin?
Sure. Okay, my question is for Ms. Trenner. How do you feel about the current events with the problems of people using the restrooms and people that may be transgender and gender identity? What are your thoughts on public restrooms in public buildings and schools, and those who are going through gender reassignment or may be transsexual using the public restrooms?
I believe in modesty. I believe that little girls in public schools deserve modesty. I think that the idea that boys can share bathrooms with girls it's nuts. I don't like it at all. I would like to see a bathroom specifically for transgender people if that's what they demand. But I do not think that we need to expose young girls who have all sorts of issues as they're growing up, especially teenage girls, to have to share bathrooms with the other gender. Opposed.
Thank you. Mr. LaFauno.
Good morning. I'm going to ask this question of both of you. Rusty, we'll start with you. Once again, my name is Scott LaFauno with Citizens for a Better America. What is your position on the legalization of recreational marijuana?
I did vote for the original marijuana bill that we had in Nevada 15 years ago where medical marijuana was legal. I think it took that long before we finally got something put in place for that. As far as legalization, I know that there's always taxation with legalization, so there's always going to be that part. I don't know. I see that it's growing more and more, and if anything, I just feel like we should decriminalize it. I don't know if we should actually legalize it.
Same question? Well, I'm opposed to the use of drugs. I would like to see us be able to eliminate drugs out of our society. I'm not sure how we do that. Legalizing marijuana in a state when it's still a federal issue, I think leaves us open to all sorts of legal problems. As far as what the voters have voted, they want to have medical marijuana, and it is controlled, and I'm not opposed to that. But any other use, yes, I'm opposed to it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. I just want to remind panelists, if you wish to direct to both candidates, please be sure that it is a yes or no question. Mr. Conquest.
Yes, Fred Conquest.
Push up.
Sorry. It's on the same machine, I have to turn it on.
Got it?
Yep.
Is that on?
Try now.
Hello.
Okay, Fred Conquest, Executive Director, Citizens for a Better America. In the last election, the citizens of Nevada voted to kill the margin tax by 80% to 20%. Yet the governor and the state legislature voted to enact this $1.5 to $2 billion tax, which supposedly was going to go to the schools, which the schools have not seen anything. would you be for or against eliminating the tax or modifying it?
Which one are you asking?
You, please.
Okay, well, I'll go first. It's the reason I'm running. Our representative to the assembly is James Oscarson. Mr. Oscarson said that he would not vote for the tax, and we out in Durham were quite conservative. We didn't want our taxes raised, and he was one of the main votes that swung the bill, and it was passed. So I think he voted something like 28 bills that had taxes in them. I am completely opposed to it. I want it completely undone. I'm working to help it get it on the petition. We can vote it down yet again, and then be in Carson City so we can stop it from going any further. It's just poison. I call it the tax monster.
And although she's my opponent in the race, I'm 100% in agreement with her on this situation. That's one of the reasons I did join in the race also. This tax is not necessary. It's a way for bigger government, a small IRS just in Nevada. So we created a new IRS just to be able to go after people who are going to be paying on their gross income. So it's going to be a job killer at the end of the day. And even along with that, I believe that they've also raised the price of the business licenses. And I believe James Oscarson sent his person out talking to people when they asked him about it. He said, if you can't afford the license, you shouldn't be in business. So definitely, this is something we need to rebuild.
Thank you. Once again, I'll remind panelists, if you're directing to both candidates, please make it a yes or no question. Mr. Lewick.
Yeah. Are we on here? Yes, we are. Thank you. This question is for both of you. Nevada does have a serious shortage of mental health services for the citizens of our state. This is very much a nonpartisan issue, and I'd like to hear your proposals or ideas on how to increase and improve mental health services for our citizens. I'll start with
Excuse me, Judge, I'm going to have to ask, if you're going to ask a question that's not a yes or no, you'll have to, under the rules, ask one or the other to answer the question.
Okay. Let me ask Mr. Stanberry what you would propose on mental health.
For what I've heard in regards to mental health, usually when there's a decrease once the first thing that happens when people start losing work is they lose coverage with health insurance, and they stop paying for the first thing that's the highest price out of their pocket, which is, medication towards that they need daily for these type of mental health issues. So I don't know the answer to this today, but I would definitely like to see something that we could work out to get these people the help they need, even in the short term, and get them back on path.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving right along, and I'm sorry I can't see. Thank you. Mr. Pitaro.
Sorry. So I'd first off say, Mr. Stanberry, thank you for your service and welcome home. I appreciate you showing up. Ms. Trenner, I appreciate your stats here, so I can scrutinize you better. So my question is for Mr. Stanberry. I'm a millennial Republican. I'm a new type of Republican. My question is, how are you going to appeal to voters like me who aren't traditionally left or right, or even Republican, Democrat? We're different. How do you appeal to someone like me?
I believe politics is for everyone in saying that it's your country and we're going to do things for you, but you should also step up and do things for your country too. So we just need to find out what would interest you to make things better for you. I mean, find out what your cares and needs are and see if we can't make them better.
Thank you.
Is that a question for me too?
I'm only allowed to ask one person, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was two.
I'd like to hear your answer afterward though, just saying.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Mr. Faust.
Good morning, my name is Robert Faust. Thank you for being here. This is for both of you, would you consider defunding school sports?
No.
I believe they're already defunded. So I would like to see how we can reroute some of the money that's currently in the schools towards that.
Towards what?
It would be no for new funding.
Thank you very much. I'd like to take a moment now to introduce a new panel member that's joined us, Mr. Rob Lauer, a veteran of the United States Army Military Police Corps. Mr. Lauer, you're up next.
Thank you, Rob Lauer. This question is for Tina Trenner. So you came out actively opposed to the commerce tax. The governor said that he needs that money to pay for educational reforms that are desperately needed. We're number 50th in the country. What's your plan to fix education here in Nevada? And how would you fund it?
Well, let me just start out by saying that was what Kenny Flynn told us in 2002. And they threw a lot of money at it, and it hasn't gotten any better. I think that we need to take our schools back. I think that the Department of Education is not helping us. I think locally, parents and the people in the community should be involved in the education of their children. So I am in favor of taking education back to the community.
Thank you very much. Ms. Creepita.
Hi, thank you for being here. My question is for both of you. Can they answer?
As long as it's yes
Okay.
or no question.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, this is for you, Tina. What are your feelings regarding the Second Amendment of gun laws?
I'm endorsed by the Second Amendment Foundation. I just sent my questionnaire into the National Rifle Association. My father raised me with guns. I believe in the Second Amendment, and I believe it's what keeps us free. I would never think of infringing on anyone's gun rights. In fact, I believe the Constitution is our permit to carry a gun, and I think that is it, flat out, and I don't think we have any ifs, ands, or buts. Shall not be infringed. How much easier does that get to understand?
Thank you very much. Mr. Ahern.
Good morning. I'm going to ask this question, Rusty, if you don't mind. What type of corruption, if any, do you feel exists in our state judicial system, and what would you be willing to address?
Well, I think at the end of the day, money is the biggest corrupter of them all. So, you know, I feel strongly in auditing every situation I can audit, make things more transparent. I work in a situation where I'm a business analyst, and daily I'm writing forms, you know, looking at finding the best solutions and processes to make things better. And I think that we should look at the processes of every type of piece of government we have and see what we can make better.
Thank you, Mr. Stanberry. We have approximately 12 minutes before our next interviews begin. Anyone else from the panel? Mr. Pitara.
Ms. Trenner, if I could ask you the same question I asked Mr. Stanberry, how do you appeal to millennial Republicans such as myself?
I want to appeal to everyone in the fact that I stand on the Constitution. The Bill of Rights is, as far as I'm concerned, our founders gave us a roadmap to prosperity and a roadmap to the pursuit of happiness. And it's called the United States Constitution. And the further we get away from it, the more problems we have. So anyone that would vote for me should know I will always adhere to the Constitution. And if it's not constitutional, and by the way, I have some constitutional lawyers that are going to be advising me to make sure I don't make a boo-boo. I will make sure that it is always the Constitution first.
Thank you.
Mr. Lauer.
Since we have a minute, I'd like to get a response from either one of you. As you know, last legislative session there was a battle within the Republican Party for the Speaker, for leadership, for the control. Pretty nasty fight. Speaker Hambrick rose out of that. Would either one, or well, yes or no, would you support him and vote for him for Speaker for the next legislature if the Republicans keep in the Senate?
Mr. Hambrick?
Yes.
No.
No.
Okay, thank you.
We have a question from the audience. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. My name is Karen Stone. I'm Veterans and Politics Auxiliary Director. Thank you both for being here today. And my question is very similar to Rob's. Being involved as much as we are, we're very familiar with the legislature. And we had a majority Republican legislature in the last session who, I'm sure you both know, just completely raped us.
Failed.
That's putting it mildly. So, Mr. Stanberry, could I ask you if you are elected and you get into face the legislature and they make decisions like that, what do you think you could do to bring a better outcome for the citizens of our state?
And I agree with you. On paper, we definitely have a lot of Republicans in office. I think that at the end of the day, we have to find the common ground and work together on getting the issues solved. So I feel like if we can get a good group of Republicans in there that are conservative, that are looking out for the people's interests of Nevada, and I think this election's looking like that. We're getting a lot more competition because of some of the mistakes that happened up in Carson City last year. So I just hope that we can get enough good people in there to overturn some of these new issues.
Thank you. If we have time, can I pose the same question to Ms. Trenner?
Yes, ma'am, I'll.
Okay, Ms. Trenner, could you please answer that question?
Sure. I don't believe in giving up ground. I think that we are dealing with a lot of people that are not there to work with us. And every time that the conservatives and the Republicans give up a little ground, we just get weaker and weaker. So I am not, and I'm completely opposed to going up there and trying to deal with people who have already proven themselves to not be honest or responsible.
Thank you very much. At this time, we've got Mr. Conquest.
Okay, since I ran for governor as a Democrat, and Democratic Party is pretty corrupt, as is the RNC, how would you deal with this corruption if the only thing you're going to do is rubber stamp conservative issues?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Oh. Well, I'm not going to rubber stamp anything. I really feel as though we need resistance in Carson City. We need to stand up for something, have some principles, and stand our ground. And that's what I plan to do. I hope I can work with people. I would try to work with people, but I'm not giving an inch of my ground that I believe that the Constitution demands that we stand for. Does that answer your question?
No, but okay.
I don't know if it did.
I'll allow, at this point, I'm going to allow one question from the audience. Sorry, Ms. Aaron, when we need to move on. I'll allow one question from the audience. Is there a question from the audience? Sir, if you'd step up and take one of the microphones.
Take time.
Yes, what is your view on ESAs, the education savings accounts?
Are you asking me?
Okay.
Which one?
You.
Me?
Okay.
Well, I'm in favor of school choice. I think people should be able to send their children where they want to send them. So in that regard, when they passed that, I was happy about it. I don't know how it's going to work out ultimately because there's always so many snags in every plan. But I am in total favor of parents being able to send their children to the schools they feel comfortable with.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to thank Mr. Stanberry and Ms. Trenner for joining us today. We will take a brief, very brief, precisely 5-minute break, and then we will begin our interview.